How can you stop when it's everything you dreamed and it's so far left to run? How can you quit when it's all you've ever wanted and you don't know what's to come?
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you guys watching, commenting, thumbsing up my videos, sharing, and of course just taking the time to browse around my channel. If you're a new subscriber, I appreciate you guys. I thank you so much. Now today's video is about sugar. It's all about the sweet stuff and dealing with sugar cravings and curbing those cravings. Before I start the video, as I always say, I'm not an expert, I'm not a medical expert, so all of the advice that I'm giving here is strictly from a personal experience or things that I've learned from other people with regards to effective strategies and so on. I'm always asked these questions, how do I deal with sugar cravings and so on, and I'm gonna tell you guys, I naturally do not have a sweet tooth. Now, if you're like me and you like looking things up and doing a little bit of research, you probably would have learned that there are tons and tons of different theories out there with regards to why people crave sugar. I was even surprised with some of the reasons myself. For example, if you have like an infestation, like you have a parasite, for example, that might cause you to have a sugar craving. It can also be something that is genetically related in terms of your family line, and it can simply be out of bad habit. Okay, there's also research to support the fact that we are programmed to crave sugar since before birth based on the diet of our moms, okay, during her pregnancy. So there are tons and tons of research out there. Of course, feel free to go ahead and read up that information yourself, but I just thought I'll put that out there since it's a question that I get. With that said, guys, I kind of like to think of sugar as something you want to eliminate. You want to narrow down and eliminate as much as possible. And there are reasons for that. Sugar does have a direct effect on your weight management. You will hear trainers talk about that a lot. If you consume high quantities of sugar, you tend to actually put on more weight. So that is one big reason you probably want to narrow down and cut down on your sugar. And also, sugar is known to have very addictive properties, kind of like taking crack or cocaine. Seriously, that is actually how some studies portray the effects of sugar. From a chemistry point of view, because you know I'm a chemistry teacher, sugar does stimulate a part of the brain that causes the release of or the production of the feel-good chemicals like serotonin and dopamine and all sorts of endorphins. Okay, those are the feel-good chemicals. And the downside to that, if you're taking sugar and sugar stimulates the production of these feel-good, chemicals, what is the tendency? We're going to want more sugar, and there are going to be secondary consequences to consuming so much sugar. I believe on average, a person consumes 76 pounds of added sugar a year. That is a lot of sugar. So what are my 3 tips for curbing the cravings, for cutting down on so much sugar consumption? Tip number 1, and we probably might not realize this, you're probably not getting enough rest. When you're tired and you're beaten down and you're dragged and you're just drained, you want sugar because you want something to pick you up. Okay, so if you're well rested, the tendency is that you would not feel the need to turn to something that is a fast fix, and usually we go to a fast source, a fast sugar supply, like a soda, for example, a candy bar, for example. If we're well rested, the tendency is that we're not going to do that because our body is well rested and we're not going to need that picker upper. So if you're not getting enough rest, it's kind of tough to get the 8 hours that's recommended every night, but if you can get at least 6 hours, that is a good place to start. Okay, in that way you're not depending on the sugar to keep you going throughout the day. The second tip that I can offer you guys is to try to consume foods that are, naturally sweet. So for example, sweet potatoes, if you don't just like having boiled sweet potatoes or mashed sweet potatoes, you can have sweet potato fries, for example, or baked sweet potato fries. Carrots are kind of like the healthy candy in the vegetable world, right? Berries, for example. I love having smoothies in the morning. I find that the burst of natural sugar, yes, keeps me going. It gives me a kickstart to my day. I'm not a coffee person. If I do not have a cup of tea, hot tea, I definitely have a smoothie. And even during the day, I'll just have a smoothie, and that gives me the boost that I need to actually continue functioning and doing the things that I need to get done during the day. So try consuming foods that are naturally sweet, even oatmeal, for example, brown rice, yams, things like that in your lunch, in your snacks, and so on and so forth. That will help you to function a lot better, because some of these foods, for example, sweet potato, even though it's sweet, it has a very low glycemic index. So that means the release of energy over time, the sugar over time, is going to be slow and steady, and that is what you want. You do not want to consume something that will put you in a high and then lead you right back down to an immediate crash, like candies, for example. And the third tip that I can offer you is to resist the urge, resist the habit of adding artificial sweeteners to your foods and to your beverages. A lot of people do not realize that artificial sweeteners are actually about 300 times, I think, sweeter than natural sugar. And even though they claim to have 0 calories, or they do have 0 calories, the point is that they are sweeter. And if you're consuming that as much sweeter than normal, your brain is going to start telling your body that you need this stuff. The fourth thing that you can do to curb your sugar craving is to literally consume more protein. If you're not in the habit of counting your macros, for example, you may not realize how much carbs you're actually consuming on the daily. And when I say carbs, I'm primarily talking about sugar, which is a type of carb. Increase your protein. Protein does keep you more satisfied for a little bit longer. If you're satisfied for a little bit longer, you're going to tend to consume less carbs. And the fifth tip is to consume more water. Sometimes when we think we're on a sugar low, we're simply dehydrated. Water also keeps you refreshed and replenished. Those are my 5 tips, guys. If you have any more, please include them in the comment box below. Remember, I'm not a medical expert. I'm just sharing what I know and sharing what I've learned over the years. Thank you guys for tuning in, and until next time, peace.